Security expert David also joins us now for more on the situation in Afghanistan. Thank you, David, for speaking to us. Just to get your thoughts on the events that have occurred over the past 24 hours, will America have reasons to return to Afghanistan to avenge the deaths of these American Marines?
Well, I think, we have to get away from the reactive measures, talking about revenge. What is very clear from the past incident at the Kabul Hamid Karzai International Airport is that there was a clear evidence and there was clear intelligence which was presented, which demonstrated that the Islamic State was planning an attack, just outside the perimeters of the Hamid Karzai Airport. So this was known, the targets were known, the group was known. So something had to be done to have stopped that. I don't think, America has any desire, or the American public will have any desire for U.S. troops to go back to Afghanistan, again, to carry out any revenge attacks against the Islamic State. Now, what the U.S. has in terms of resources is to be able to sponsor some kind of a proxy whereby, the perpetrators of this act, may be chased down or simply just, assist the whatever Taliban government comes in power to be able to fight its rival, which is the Islamic State. But I don't think there is any desire. I don't think there is any public outcry for, the U.S. to go back again to Afghanistan 9/11 style, in order to revenge the death of, Afghans and U.S. Marines. So that's where I think, we should be looking at a lot more a proactive, measures rather than, looking at revenge strategies.
Well, with this latest development, how likely or successful will the Taliban be in keeping its promise not to allow attacks on the U.S., to emanate from Afghanistan again like they did 20 years ago?
I think we're seeing a very different Taliban from the one that was there before 9/11. 20 years has gone by and the Taliban understands the capabilities that the US and NATO forces have in terms of being able to destabilize, the entire country. They have made their promises, even before now, that they would cut ties with Al-Qaeda. But that's a very, big challenge. One is supposed to be able to see how that is going to work, for the simple reason that the Taliban cannot be distinguished from Al-Qaeda. For the past 20 years, they've been fighting alongside a common enemy. They've also been very close to the Haqqani network, which also has links with neighboring Pakistan. And also, how are they going to be able to, defeat the Islamic State? And what we know is that so many of the ex-Al-Qaeda members, are the ones who have formed the Islamic State of the Khorasan province, and also they have some Taliban members within their group. So it's going to be very challenging. But I think the only way that the Taliban can succeed is if the international community, finds a way of working with the Taliban regime to make sure that it has the right capacity and capability to deal with insurgency within its country so that the region and the entire, global community can be safe. Without that, there's trouble looming.
Well, David, just very quickly, in your assessment, just how much of a threat is this Islamic State Khorasan province, the ISK?
I mean, we've seen the disaster that it caused at the airport, so that gives you an indication of how much of a threat that they pose. ISIS, the so-called Islamic State, which again, the U.S. coalition said they had defeated in the borders between Iraq and Mosul, they're still very powerful. They've got a branch in Nigeria, which is called the Islamic State of West Africa Province. They have a branch in Mozambique. They've got a branch in Central African Republic, Central Africa, in DRC Congo. So the Islamic State is a big threat. And they pose a very imminent threat, as we've seen in the case in Kabul. So they are a group to reckon with. And I think the best way is for the global community to come together, including whichever government comes out of Afghanistan. They need to be helped in order for them to defeat the Islamic State.
All right, then. Thank you so much, security expert David Otto. Thank you for your thoughts on the program.
Thank you.